Number two, self-love, right? The second thing on my list, and I'm sorry, I have my laptop over here because I wrote it down so that I wouldn't forget. But the second thing I would have to say is self-love, right? Self-love is such a huge thing when you want to begin your spiritual journey. Personally speaking, I think that and then so that's why it's so self-love ties into having fun, right? Because self-love, again, that's something when you think about shadow work, or you think about, having to go within and deal with self and deal with your issues and stuff, you just feel like, oh my God, this is going to be so heavy and it's going to be so draining. And you know what I'm saying? And it, don't get me wrong, it can be, a lot sometimes, and it can bring up certain emotions and stuff, but just remember to embrace it and enjoy whatever it is that you're learning about yourself, right? Learn what it is and actually take it and just enjoy. And so think about it like, okay, this stuff is all being revealed to me. Instead of it, feeling heavy, just be like, I'm thankful, have gratitude for what you're being taught about yourself, right? So I know a lot of times, especially in this community, when you ask me where to start, they be like, start with shadow work. I heard that years ago, when I first kind of came to this part of my journey, to the spiritual part of my journey. It was like, you want to begin this with shadow work. And I'm like, well, what's shadow work? And, that's like when you have to go within, and kind of deal with your traumas and deal with your inner child and all that type of stuff. I have to say, I still probably didn't really 100% understand what all that entailed, So what I want to give y'all is self-love is, in my opinion, I'm not going to say my opinion, self-love is a major part of shadow work, right? Because personally speaking, having self-love is a foundation of being able to move forward within your spiritual journey, right? That, to me, that is like the foundational piece. Because here's the thing, if you are not good for you, then you're not good for then you're not able to be good for anybody else, right? If you wear all of these different masks, and you're hiding from yourself, then you're going to have those same masks on and you're going to be hiding for other people, right? So how can you truly free somebody up or help somebody free themselves up when you're not even freed up yourself? So that's why I would have to say self-love is the place to start with. So when it comes to self-love, self-love is, and I'm going to, y'all probably gonna hear me talk about self-love a lot because that is one of the areas that is really, really, really huge for me. Self-love is it's so broad, but it's so narrow, right? Sound like a total contradiction. But like, it's so many pieces to self-love, right? It's so many pieces to understanding how to love yourself truly, right? Because it's so many layers to it. Like, it's like an onion, and you got to peel back so many thin layers to get to the core of whatever the issue is, or, to get to the core reason, right? So you will find that when you start doing like your self love or your shadow work, you'll end up finding that you will think that, oh, I got the answer. This is where the issue is, or this is the issue, right? You'll find that issue is probably a surface issue, and you're like, this is my issue, right? But then when you really start going within, you'll realize that that issue that you thought was an issue, it was just a surface level, or it was just a byproduct of the true issue, right? So then you'll have to dig a little deeper to get to the surface of what the issue really is, right? So I'm going to also, y'all gonna hear me talk about my journal. My journal is called, it's not a journal, I'm sorry, it's a workbook. My workbook is like a guide in the workbook, but my guide in my workbook is called No Compromise, a journey to loving yourself, right? And I'm not gonna just be talking about it because I'm like, this is this is something that I wrote. I'm talking about it because these very things are what helped me. I had to, like, seriously, y'all, I had to go into the depths of the darkest parts of myself to understand and to be able to bring it out, basically to give to other people, right? So I'm not saying that y'all have to start, self-love with my by utilizing my workbook. By all means, however it comes to you is great, to start your self-love journey. But what I am saying is that I personally feel that my workbook has a very strong foundation of beginning to love yourself, or beginning to understand how to love yourself, or um, basically going through the whole the self love journey. So again, that is something that's available to you guys. I'll drop my Etsy link in the description. But basically, number two will have to be self love, which I'm saying, that is a great part of shadow work. And so of course other shadow work will also be like within that number two. I just think that the starting place will be really the whole self-love thing, because like I said, once you start uh going into self-love, it's like it brings out so much, and it opens you up to so much of yourself, and then it releases you from different fears, and it causes you to have to deal with all these different layers and things within yourself. So then once you deal with those things, it's easier for you to be able to give certain aspects of yourself to others, to be able to help them within their walk. So that's my number two.